Hi everyone, thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 458 days, Ukraine defends itself against the forces of the Russian invasion. This night before the Kyiv day, Russia launched one of the largest drone strikes against Ukraine's capital. According to the General Staff, overall Russia launched 54 Iranian-made Shahed drones, both from north and south. 52 of them were downed by the air defense of Ukraine. According to the Kyiv authorities, more than 40 enemy drones were destroyed, reports Ukrinform. At least one person was killed and 2 injured as a result of falling debris. It was the 14th air attack on the capital since the beginning of May. The attack was carried out in several waves, and the air alert lasted for more than 5 hours. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky has included more Russian and Belarusian individuals and companies into the sanctions list, reports Liga. In particular, sanctions are imposed against 220 companies, including many repair plants, as well as 51 Russian individuals, including scientists and plant CEOs. In his evening video address, the president said that these enterprises are serving the war. He added that these Ukrainian sanctions are either already synchronized or will be synchronized with the sanctions of the free world. The first group of about 400 Ukrainian servicemen began training on American M1 Abrams tanks in Germany, reports European Pravda. About 200 soldiers started to learn how to operate tanks and 200 more how to refuel and maintain them. It is expected that combat-ready tanks might appear on the battlefield in Ukraine by autumn. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, in the apps where you are listening to this podcast: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This way more people would learn about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba denied the information released by the Wall Street Journal. The Chinese representative Li Hui, during his European tour, promoted the resolution of Russia's war against Ukraine by immediate ceasefire and recognition of Russian occupation of the Ukraine territory, reports Radio Liberty. The Ukrainian foreign minister noted that after this information appeared, he contacted his European colleagues from the capitals which Li Hui visited, and none of them confirmed it. Kuleba added that Ukraine will continue to conduct talks with China, but it will be conducted in accordance with 3 basic principles: mutual respect for territorial integrity, Ukraine will not consider any proposals that involve territorial concessions, and no frozen conflict. According to the survey conducted by the Razumkov Center on behalf of the Zerkalo Tizhnya media, almost 64% of Ukrainians do not support direct negotiations with Russia to achieve peace. Only 23% are in favor of this option. Answering the question if they would support return not to the borders of 1991 but to the demarcation line that existed before the start of the full-scale invasion, the majority of 67% answered no. Only 17% of respondents gave an affirmative answer. Another 16% could not answer. Ukrainian tennis player Elina Svitolina became the winner of the WTA 250 level tournament in Strasbourg, France, beating Russian Anna Blinkova in the final, reports Suspilne. The Russian representative played in a neutral status. Svitolina and Blinkova met for the first time in their careers. For Elina, this is the 20th final of the WTA level and the first after returning to tennis after maternity leave. For Anna, it is the second in her career. She won the first one. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine. We are a commercial initiative of just 2 people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.